Yes, sir.
Okay, we all stand for salute to the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
moment of silence for military and emergency care workers. Thank you. All right. So we're going to call the September meeting to order. Can I get a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes? Gary Rigney, second.
Sorry.
Okay. New York State Bureau of EMS investigation disciplinary actions. We only have 2 this month. Bensonhurst Volunteer Ambulance Service, number 7193, violations of 10 NYCRR 800.21J and PHL 3012 1 and B. The ambulance service certificate is revoked effective July 16, 2025. The GUI Amanda, EMT number 256221, violations of a previous stipulation and order, suspended for 1 year effective 8/12/25. So that. Communications and correspondence, ingoing and outgoing, we have none this month. Reports, chairman's report. We have a bunch of things. So first, the body approved money for an awards dinner. When we looked at, we have 4 people getting awards. And right now, due to what's going on with New York State with the program agencies, I don't feel spending that money is really a good idea. But I think what we should do, and if anybody disagrees, please chime in. We'll have a ceremony during one of the REMSCO meetings and present the awards to the recipients. Anybody have a comment on that? Any agree, disagree, comments? Okay, so maybe under new business, we'll make a motion for that. Okay, so I'm going to change my report to, I'm going to throw in some old business. So a couple of months ago, a couple of meetings ago, I should say, I'm sorry, I brought up that the REMSCO had been contacted by the previous program agency, and I was kind of cryptic in what I told this body, mostly because on the advice of counsel. So after meeting with an attorney, let me let everybody know what happened. So the REMSCO received a letter from the former chairman of the previous program agency, Bruce Cohen, and I'll read you the email. As the former chair of the program agency, I've been working with counsel for the program agency to formally shut down the entity, which requires government approval and has been a long process. Upon closing the entity, we would be expected to be able to transfer any remaining assets in our accounts back to the REMSCO, which is, as of today, $14,965.41 plus some cash. No specified amount. Those are my words. In order to obtain approval from the Attorney General, we are requesting an agreement from the REMSCO to accept all of the assets of the program agency in full settlement of any obligations to the REMSCO. The alternative would be a judicial proceeding, which will be time-consuming and cause expenses, which may reduce the amount of money we have to give you. Please get my thoughts on this, and feel free to give me a call to discuss. So the attorney for the REMSCO, we had a conversation. So when reading into this email, it sounds like they're looking for some type of absolution from this REMSCO in order to give us the money. So after having a conversation with the executive board, we were not crazy about that idea, because that kind of puts the onus on us, this program agency. So when I contacted the attorney, the attorney told me that, we as a body do not have the authority to absolve any previous program agency, of anything. He recommended that we have a resolution to accept the money from the previous program agency without any conditions. And if they do not accept that resolution, then we should not accept the money. So under, I guess, new business, or new business, if somebody would like to make a motion to accept the money from the previous program agency without condition, I think we should vote on that. Anybody have any comment on that? Nobody.
What happens? The money they have is money they got from state and the contract.
So we do not know where that money came from. That's one of the
I think you
problems.
should find out where that money is from before you accept it. It may have strings attached that you don't know.
So that would not fall upon us. As per the attorney, that would not fall on us. We are accepting the money from the previous program agency without any conditions. So any,
Well, I understand conditions from them, but say that state money and the state says, you know what, you never fulfilled your obligations as a program agency, we're gonna claw this back.
they could, you're right. But when I asked about that, he said that already should have taken place. Well, I know, right. So, yeah,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
just to reiterate and again, beat a little bit of a dead horse. That $14,000 that they're talking about is probably money that is already owed to this REMSCO for loans that they borrowed from REMSCO in the past. Being that it's the only way that we might be able to recoup, and it's only a portion thereof, I think that it's, incumbent upon us to, okay, we'll accept it, but, if you owe money to somebody else, don't think we're paying anybody else any money. No conditions. That's my idea.
Advice from council?
I'm sorry?
What was the advice from council?
Exactly what I just said, that we make a motion on this floor to accept the money with no conditions. And if that's the case, then we do not have any responsibility with regards to anything where that money came from.
But you said we don't have that authority. What don't we have the authority to do?
To absolve them of anything. To absolve them of anything.
The application they're looking for is something that might,
Don't know.
Or
Don't know.
we don't know.
It's not worth speculating.
It is not, yeah, right, it's not, who could tell? This is from 20, I'm sorry,
we have the impression that they're going to accept these terms?
I have no idea. But I need, as per our attorney, we need to make a motion here. And then I can move forward. Once we make the decision collectively, then I will go back to the previous program agency and say, this is the only way we can accept the money. If not, I don't want to touch the money. Yes,
What's
sir.
the total that they owe us anyway?
About over $60,000. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $68,000.
We'll just have to word it so that does not absolve you of any other debts.
Right. Well, that will come from, yeah, that's gonna come from,
Legalese.
that's gonna come from somebody who's not me. I only play a lawyer on TV, so it's not, yeah. Ernie, you have a question? Oh, sorry. Anybody else? Okay, so on the new business, if I could, get a motion, to accept, the money from the previous program agency, without condition, I would appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, just point of order. It's
Yes,
listed, it's listed as old business.
Old business, okay. We'll do it under old business. Right, right. All right, lastly, under my report, We've been using the same, the REMSCO's been using the same laptop since 2010. It's tired. 2012, excuse me, I'm sorry. 2012.
I did it to you. I'm sorry.
We got more time out of it than my MacBook Pro,
Then your new car.
than my new car, right. My new car is 2 weeks old and had to get towed back to the dealer. Because the computer had to be reprogrammed. No wrenches or screwdrivers were necessary. Yeah, so under new business, I'd like a motion, since we saved so much money this month, I'd like to make a motion for $3,000 for a new laptop for the REMSCO. And I believe that is it. Any questions, myself? Vice Chairman Tom Devane.
I got no report.
Okay. Secretary Treasurer Frank DeVoe.
Yes, I sat with Divine CPA, went over a lot of our documents. There were just a few little housekeeping things that we have to continue with. The important thing is the vouchers for anything, and otherwise, we're in good shape that way. We're just waiting for the closeout and the paperwork to be submitted through the state.
Any questions to the Secretary Treasurer? You don't have a rundown of.
I didn't get the statement yet.
Okay. SEMSCO EMS Coordinator, Don Hudson.
All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Live streamed principally on the 10th. Subcommittees are not live streamed, so those occur on the 9th. But so that's that. What else? So to that, we have two things. One thing. So program agency money will come up separately. So that was the second. The first thing then is, as you know, I'm currently second vice chair of SEMSCO, the State EMS Council. I will be running for chairman of the State EMS Council if the nomination committee seems to put that forth next Wednesday at the regular meeting on the 10th. So Nassau continues forward.
Questions to Don Hudson? Standing committees, audit committee? I don't think we have anything for that.
That's going to fall out with the
After the taxes.
CPA's follow-up and information. We should have that for the next meeting in November.
Awesome. We're going to go a little bit out of order for some time constraints. We're going to go right to the quality committee, Dr. Silva.
Thank you all for letting me go out of order. School unfortunately started and my kids get off the bus shortly. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dave Silver. I am medical director for a couple agencies, and about a couple months ago I was voted in for the new chair of the Quality QA committee. And we all sat down, we met, and basically the new theory and the new approach is our job as a QA committee is going to be help improving care and outcomes and making sure that we are a non-punitive group. Our goal when we discuss referrals to us is to really empower the medical directors back with recommendations on how we think or where care went sideways and help them to improve their own members. In one of our first ventures, we saw stroke care as an area where there really is no coordinated approach. So we all know there's an RTAC, there is no stroke equivalent. So with the help of the Department of Health, as well as Don Hudson, we were able to create pretty much the first meeting of all of the Nassau County stroke coordinators and trying to get an idea of what they see on their end. What can we do better as EMS to better communicate with them in the hospitals? And what do we need from them when we are responding to their hospitals with strokes? And two big things came up, both of which I believe are going to be handled under new businesses seconded from or past motions from REMAC.
Yes.
The first one is about making sure in our PCRs that we're completing, we are documenting that a pre-hospital notification was made, specifically if possible as a stroke notification. Now, it is required that this be a field that is turned on when we submit to the state. So I'll let Don talk in a few minutes just about how we're gonna be sending out a survey to all of the agencies in Nassau to make sure they acknowledge and that they have turned on that requirement in their platform. So it'd be a critical fail and not be able to be submitted should they not have documented the notification. More importantly came up is how we're letting the hospitals know what's coming. So we see a lot of neurological symptoms, a lot of complaints, and we can make a whole lot of stroke notifications, but some of the bigger hospitals, calling a code stroke before EMS arrival takes a whole lot of resources. You shut down your CAT scan, they create a table for you, pharmacy has to be available to mix the TPA or TNK, the docs and nurses should be waiting for you when you walk into the emergency department. So we talked about eBridge and how can we make eBridge more functional for the receiving hospitals to know what resources we need and what our thoughts are if this is a TPA candidate or if it's a large vessel occlusion. So what the committee came up with is we're going to make some modifications to eBridge. The stroke notification tablet, if you're making a stroke notification, is now going to have a number of required fields that were not previously required. Things that need to be there now to be able to be submitted are the age of the patient, their blood glucose, their last known normal or their last known well or their first abnormal, some kind of time that the hospital can work with. They're going to want a systolic blood pressure as well as a stroke scale. The stroke scale that we went back and forth on, the hospital uses BFAST and the NIH stroke scale. Pre-hospital in this area, we have been using SLAMs to bring us in line with New York City. But the decision that we're bringing forward or trying to bring forward is that we convert back this county to Cincinnati stroke scale. We don't act on SLAMs. We don't differentiate what hospital we're going to based on SLAMs. And the basic teaching in all EMS right now is still Cincinnati. So the new eBridge notification, which we are going to obviously encourage everyone to use the stroke note, will require an age, systolic blood pressure, blood glucose, last known normal, and a Cincinnati stroke scale. And then based on those responses, they will activate a code stroke prior to arrival or have a team meet you there to decide whether or not you're going direct to CAT scan or not. The idea again is to improve our times, the hospital's times for arrival to needle, right? We all know every minute is neurons. So if it's something that looks like it could be a TNK candidate, they want to make sure they're ready and that they can go right to the CAT scan. And with that, I'll stop talking and open for discussion.
Any questions for Dr. Silva? Any questions today?
Go with it.
What's happened to those agencies that are still using medical control? How does that information get to the hospital?
That's a very interesting discussion and problem because
My
right now
understanding, there's
it's
a lot
not.
of non-notifications. I get a weekly report of notifications going to eBridge, and that means how many are not going. So there's a lapse, something here. Something's wrong with our county if we're not being in full compliance with what REMSCO wants.
So that is a problem that is way above my pay grade. What I will say is working in these hospitals, if you are calling medical control, we are not getting radio reports of all that information. For some of the private agencies, depending on what information actually gets called over through their dispatch, the hospitals may or may not be notified with enough information in enough time before arrival. So obviously eBridge is a big push, and using eBridge in this situation is key. I just don't know what the answer is
It's actually
to,
saving time,
right.
which is neuron.
I just don't know the answer of how to enforce that.
I didn't mean for you to do
Okay,
it. I meant
it's a
the
priestly
body
we
here.
how to enforce that.
This is the agency that's supposed to develop plans, policies, and procedures. So how do we get that?
Well, I mean, you
rectified?
have some spots up in the North Shore where self-service sucks, and you won't be able to connect to eBridge until you're like a Locust Valley Fire Department. By the time they're rolling into the hospital, they're going to be connected to and be able to send eBridge. Well, guess what? We're not going to backward and use notification. So Locust Valley, they do
I'm sure
There's-
they make up,
there's-
like, lots of
there's-
spots.
Jack, real quick, there's a couple of parts to this. The first is the use of the radio or the phone to make a notification to medical control. What is medical control supposed to do with that? There was a policy that was made and approved that said medical control is supposed to use eBridge to forward that message to the hospital. We've discussed that, but, and then the second part of that is, I've been in contact with the state. We are in the process of rebuilding medical control, looking at policies, procedures, and things. What Ryan Greenberg has told me is that when we come up with a medical control plan, operational plan, it's going to become a protocol, a regional protocol, so that when it needs to be enforced due to lack of compliance, when the protocol if we report it to the QA committee and the QA committee brings it to the region, we bring it to the state now has legs to enforce that protocol non-compliance. So it's a process in motion. It's nothing that is there yet, but we would encourage everybody to try to use eBridge when you can. And of course, we understand that there are some limitations and that the current policy does allow for phone calls in areas where there's no internet, there's no telephone or something. We need to use the radio, I understand. There are times when the radios and phones are down, and the only thing that's working is eBridge. But that happens too. So it could go either way.
Sir,
I still think it's extremely concerning that we're pushing eBridge on the providers that we're working for, and we have yet to get feedback from those providers as to, is making more required fields going to affect the way you're treating your patient? Because as anyone in this room that's using eBridge currently knows that when you take your eyes off the patient and put them into your computer to give an eBridge notification, you're adding a lot of attention to the computer and not to your patient, because it is difficult. You're not user friendly. The hospitals aren't. Like Hope is somewhere in the middle of the list. It's not number one, not number two on the eBridge list, like it may be on your EPCRs. So there's a lot of things that we should be looking at with the program itself to make it user friendly for the individual agencies.
so as a provider that uses it, I'm gonna put on my provider hat. The more I've used it, the better I'm getting at using it. And truthfully, I mean, we all like to think that we're gonna really do something important in the back of the ambulance, and we are. However, the notification to get the ER staff ready for us is more important than the IV that we're giving. I mean, what's it doing? Okay, the EKG that we're doing. Yes, those are important things, but the primary thing, at least what I do, is I make the notification, because I need them ready when I walk in. If there's no line, okay, so there's way more nurses than there are providers in the back of the bus. So, I mean, I think if, in the beginning, I'm not gonna argue with you. There was a little time lag there. But since I've started using it more and more, I'm way more proficient at using it.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about the provider who's using it maybe once or twice a month. And that's who I think a lot of the providers that we're not hearing from are, the ones who don't have the experience on the regular basis.
Just real fast from the stroke side of this, we do have the ability, because we're working in these hospitals, we will see in 4 or 5 months of being in service and doing this, is there actually a difference? And if we're not seeing a difference, then why are we doing it? I completely agree. But the good news on this one is we have these hospitals on board. We will see every single time second is taken in a stroke, and they do their metric reports, and we'll see if there's a difference.
And now, I'm just to take that one step further, now that we've had conversations with the stroke coordinators from all the facilities, I think you left out one, and I apologize for saying this, but I think you left out one really important, juicy part, that the stroke coordinators didn't even know each other. They were totally in the dark about really what goes on. And that Don and Dr. Silver kind of turn a light bulb on for them. So they kind of now, I think, have an idea of what's really going on out on the street. So I think, like you said, we need to give it some time. Ernie.
So I am a user all the time.
Sorry, it sounds like a different meeting.
I'm an early adopter of it. I like it. However, I do think that there's some very significant problems that remain with it. In fact, I've seen times that the doctors, the medical control end, not answering me until I actually physically call up and get them on the line. I have lots of difficulties in different areas of the county with connectivity, so that's a hardware system type problem. And as you mentioned, as a user, we're not getting more people in the back of that ambulance, we're getting less. Sole provider back there is in a lot of cognitive overload in critical situations when you have it. So, again, like I said, I'm an early adopter, I'm a proponent, but I've been running into significant problems. I'm not hearing a lot of feedback on how they're being addressed, how they're being overcome. Is there a root cause analysis being done? I don't know. I just don't know. It's kind of like a black hole. I do try to, and in fact, I'm required by my agency to use it. And we record it every single time. So again, I think it's a good system. I think there's a lot of value added. I think, at the other end of the receiving end, one of the things, just motivational. To be honest with you, I don't see a hell of a lot being done when I get there. If they really use the information that I provide. So, and again, that may be perception, but it's motivational in nature. So, again, good system. Got some opportunities. Just would look at root cause and then give feedback to the provider. What's happening? What's going on when you run into a problem? That's my experience as an everyday provider.
Yeah, just going back to our conversation with General Devices, and I understand his connectivity issue and stuff, but I believe once it's placed in there, regardless of whether your connectivity initially and stuff, once you reach connectivity, all that information will be in the system and stuff available to the hospital, whether it be, and we've seen where we've had connectivity, whether it be through eBridge or through the phone system or cell phones or anything else, we've had breakdowns. And when we started this, we never took anything away. We didn't take the radios away. We didn't take cell phone access away of calling medical control. But for the connectivity, at least we have the information and stuff that the QA/QI committee, as well as the regional stroke committees and stuff, can utilize. It's an imperative that we, as a body, as part of our policy right now, which should be a protocol, that we push it forward and get everybody on board to adopt this. And put the information in there, regardless of whether they reach it right away. By the time you reach the hospital, it will get there, and the information will be utilized by our committees to enhance it for the public that we're serving.
I don't think that helps in the case of a stroke, and you talk about saving neurons. I agree that a lot of facilities you go to don't do anything with that information. There's no stroke bed waiting. You're not transferring the patient to CAT scan. They do their attending does an assessment, then neurology comes down, does an assessment, then they call a stroke or whatever. So how do we track the data and the metrics of, are the hospitals using this data appropriately?
I can tell you that South Nassau absolutely uses all this data, and I review this as the pre-hospital person there, as the pre-hospital director, that I review this with our ED administration and the nursing on a very regular basis, and they prefer eBridge notifications to the phone, and they prefer it to the radio because it actually makes more sense with their workflow. A little bit of, we're still working on it, but as part of under QA/QI with the Airway Committee, so the question had come up. Remember, I had talked when we were talking about RSI about using the data appropriately. So I can tell you now from the airway data that we've gotten for the past 2 years that our first pass success on intubations is around the mid-90s. We're actually crunching the data right now. So this is the first time in the history of I know of in Nassau County that we actually have legitimate data that we can process to help us make sure that we're giving the right feedback to everyone and we're doing the right thing. So for that reason, you are doing a lot for the providers and for the patients of the county. And for the workflow stuff, okay, so we're all doctors and hospitals. We all have to do electronic order entry. So you bring me an incredibly sick patient. After I assess that incredibly sick patient, I need to go to a computer and I need to take
a few minutes and I need to enter all the orders, that's part of my workflow
I'm not
that I
talking-
expect.
I'm
So
not talking electric.
no, but what
versus
I'm explaining
I'm
is
talking
that
about
if you're telling me that an EMS provider who is sitting in front of a patient, when the patient's literally right here, cannot go to a computer to type in some basic information, and then if the person gets sick, I mean, we all understand there's one person you're doing CPR, I mean, sure. But I mean, I actually have to walk away from the patient to enter information in the computer, to walk back to the patient's bedside. You can't say that's preventing you from taking care of the patient. Like, that's just, I mean, there's lots of things we can do, and Ernie, I think you have a good point that we may be able to make it better, and we can always make it more efficient, we can make the system better, but we finally have data, and we're finally doing the right thing for the overall quality assurance, and I mean, that's really good thing for the county, and that's really good thing for our
I'm saying
patients.
any notification, whether it's a computer or phone, it doesn't matter. I'm saying any notification that they're not activating anything. There's nothing
But
activated.
that's
There's
up to the
nothing.
hospital, that's not on you.
And I understand that, but if we're
If
talking
we're
about
getting the data, that's a hospital
collaborative
thing.
stroke care and what, you know, what our responsibility is and where we fall into the overall stroke care of a patient.
Once you
When we
make your
go there-
notification, you've done your thing. That's on the hospital, and I mean, now we finally have the hospital talking to each other, I'm sorry.
So the hospital's opinion or their thought process is kind of like what you call traumas. They're trying to take whatever small information that you put in there and deciding whether or not they're gonna activate. If you put in there that it's a 96-year-old and their systolic blood pressure is 280, that's not gonna be a code stroke notification because that person's not getting TMK. So they're saying that these are the minimum things that they're gonna need to decide before you get there, are they gonna call that code stroke in advance? But you make a very valid point, and there's gotta be a way, and I'll talk to the committee, there should be a way for you guys on the back end also to say, I made a stroke note and I didn't have them waiting for me. And then on our end, we should be able to see from the e-bridge, what did you say that was in there? And is there a trend that they're appropriately triaging based off of this, or is it fatigue and they're just not looking at it properly? So it should go both ways. That is a very valid point.
That's actually the point.
Very valid point.
So it's coming in, so I just asked Dr. Koger, so that notification is coming in as a priority patient. So, no,
I don't mean you bridge first phone, I just mean the notification in general, however it's there, whether they activate somebody and, you know.
right,
actually
so,
take
well,
care of it.
hopefully it's not based on what you're checking on the e-bridge, they're gonna realize that, okay, we do need to activate, we need to be standing there waiting for that ambulance when it comes in. Hopefully, now, that since they wanna use it, and I'm sure the stroke coordinators have gone downstairs to their ERs and said, listen, you know, we're missing these. And that, I think that was the conversation that Don and Dr. Silver had. So I think hopefully we're gonna see, I agree with you. Hopefully we're gonna see a change.
Is there
In
any,
the
I just
positive.
wanna be able to track it back the other way
In
too,
the positive,
not
right.
just on the
No, Mike,
EMS
that's
end.
reasonable, we should be able to do that, we can now, if we have the data, we can, that's the point. We had no data before, we had zero, like, it was a black hole for any of this quality stuff, and now we finally have data that we can act on, so no, in both ways, and you're right, we wanna make sure that we're doing the right thing for them and they're listening to us 100%. But you shouldn't feel bad if the hospital doesn't do something, if you do your job as a pre-op provider, we can take that up with the hospital. You know what I mean, but that's not on you, I mean, but the feedback's nice, because you wanna know what happened, I mean, obviously, that makes sense.
is there any way on e-bridge on a stroke notification, like the gentleman's saying, once you send it, it sort of closes out the whole thing. Is there any way on a stroke that it can stay open? You know, you can send it or notify, and then one more box for the provider, was hospital prepared, were you received by hospital, yes, no. That will give you the feedback you want.
I mean, we can do that.
Stays open on the app for an hour after the case, so allow you to enter more data.
So hang on, if you guys want a form, you can make a form on there to follow up. Like, hey, you can make a form in there, like the airway form, right? You're doing that after the fact. You could have a form on eBridge that said, hey, was this notified? Were you acknowledged? I mean, if you want us to get that data, we can do that. That would be easy, right? We can track that.
We maybe just put a box on the stroke tab.
Or do another,
I'm sorry.
or just do another form.
Done.
So as anyone's been around remembers, we literally paralleled the same exact thing with trauma and the new ACS guidelines and everything else when we put this in place. Similarly, at the time, I believe there was a discussion about, I don't know that the intent of this body or anyone here is to put a provider in a place where they have to tattle on a hospital the same way we would never ask that of our hospital compatriots. If there's a one-off where a provider feels adequate care wasn't there or wasn't prepared, I think they should follow the established procedures and report that. It should just truly be the one-off. The real, where the rubber meets the road here is, as Mr. O'Hara was saying, we're hovering around about 1,000 non-eBridge utilizations a month, as has been recorded since January. 1,000 January, 1,200, 900, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 880. For July, we haven't gotten August yet. So this is in the MS coordinator's report to spark these conversations. I think until we have our house in order, we should not nor expect to be in a position where we're casting stones into somebody else's glass house. So where we have to fix it is, why are people not utilizing eBridge? Quite honestly, anyone, at least my opinion, who's halfway honest with themselves, whether using a cell phone, a radio, 2 cans and a cup and a piece of string, or eBridge, it's about the same amount of information. And if you're too busy, report it so we can track that. All of this is built in and has been the singular messaging since the implementation of eBridge. Whether it's occurring or not, I think that's where we have concern. So what do we do about it? I guess that's the big question. What do we do about providers who we find are not using eBridge?
All right, my question is, where is the root cause analysis? We have all the causes, what are we doing to find out? Everybody's data driven, they want to get data driven, we do all this. The providers being in the field, but use resources. We don't have other people to do that.
Everyone. You name it, everyone.
Another person.
Hatzola. Everyone.
Using hands or telephones. You know, there's some ease in just doing things verbally as opposed to clicking through things and getting them in.
So
What are we doing? What is our root cause analysis? What are the causes? And attack it like that. Just in any root cause analysis, there's lots of different causes and inputs on it. There's the human, there's the structure, there's all of those different causes. What is the root cause analysis? My personal.
So the more we use this, the more we'll be able to get that information.
So 2 things. One, I think we're starting. So let's get the data, see what the problem is. We're all hypothesizing and theorizing. Let's get the data and then come back with an analysis. The second issue I just want to touch on is a couple people now have said it. I'm busy in the back. How do I type into the computer? You don't have to. You push hospital notification, red, call the hospital. Done. You've made now you're online with the hospital. They'll pick up the phone or pick up the eBridge, and you can have a 2-way phone conversation. Make your report that way. That's recorded for quality. And you don't have to hold the phone. You don't have to do anything. Just put the phone or the tablet right there and speak to the person who's receiving the information. And you can stay on the phone with them the whole time. Matter of fact, you could do that with medical control. You could do it with, that's the way it's set up. So you don't have to put anything in if you don't want. You just push the hospital and push chat, and then you can have a phone conversation. You could have a video conversation. You could have an audio conversation. So it just takes practice and time using the software. But I would say let's look at what Dr. Silver's doing, get the data, and then come back and address your concerns.
Greg?
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Greg, I'm the chief of Mineola. I heard Don mention, compliance with this, and the question was asked, how do we get providers to do their e-bridges? As an agency administrator, I have no way to track which one of my members are and are not doing e-bridges. I see the percentage number, I see how many calls we had in a month, and I see how many e-bridge notifications we had in a month. I don't know if that's my paid staff being really good about doing it and none of my volunteers are doing it, or only my volunteers are doing it and none of my paid staff. I literally have no way to review who is in compliance and who is not. So the best I can do is every month at my monthly meeting, remind all of my members, you have to do eBridge. It's REMSCO policy. You have to do an eBridge notification for every transport. I've said my spiel, have a nice day, and then I get the same report the next month. and I have no way to follow up on which one of my paid employees or volunteers are ignoring me and not in compliance with policy.
So,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I mean, it's a valid point. We need the data so that we can find who and then why. One of the open items on the agenda you'll see is we're waiting on some, unfortunately, divisional legal affairs opinions related to this, because this was one of the things medical control was tasked with, was to provide that information. Who, when, and why. To date, that has not yet occurred. So we're sort of at an impasse with that. Believe me, we all want the same thing so we can fix this.
Right? You can pull a report off the computer to see which reports were sent. You can send it.
We can see who is, we can't see who isn't. That's supposed to
Well,
be
yeah,
tracked
but
at medical
then
control.
You can infer it, right? You can see when the reports were sent. You can pull the report off the computer. And you send, that's your data too. 100%. You can pull it off the computer.
Right, that's
Yeah, but how do we get it done?
I mean, I'm using tablets.
So no, you can't. So
I'm not sure what the
no, so for the agencies, right, that information is warehoused in each hospital server. The agencies' tablets blank out, right, for HIPAA compliance and everything else, as soon as that call is over within that time frame. As far as who's using it, we can all see that, the agencies and the hospitals. That's not the concern, is who is using it. The concern is who is not, correct?
Yeah.
So who is not, that's only currently, I mean, we can't see what we can't see, right? We can't see who's not using it. So medical control was provided with a spreadsheet to track that, that is yet to be utilized.
Like I can go in and I can run a report on ESO and I can pull which charts have documented contacts.
Right.
But I can't see whether that's an eBridge contact, a med control radio contact,
Right.
or I can't see whether that's just a provider getting to the hospital and saying, oh yeah, no, I totally made a contact.
You can see on the computer itself if it is sent, but if you're right, it still doesn't do it. So you have to actually physically go in and do it. It's a lot of work. I mean, that's. If you have, if you want to see if what happens.
For what?
The time that it's already sent, it's report on the computer itself. Not the data, that's what he's saying.
Well, no, hospital
But you can see
notification is
the-
required on the
I know
PCO,
I know, but this is-
not for eBridge.
Can it drop
No.
to say?
It's not a NEMSIS field. It's not a NEMSIS field.
Yeah, but there's other stuff there that's not that.
Anybody else?
Not really,
Yeah, there is.
not really. I mean, we can talk, but
What's the consequence?
Yeah, if you don't use.
Right now, there's no consequence. It's a, what, I'm sorry?
Intrinsic or external.
I can't hear you.
What I'm saying is, if a provider or a provider agency decides they're just not gonna do it, and.
Well, that can't really be a thing.
Consequence to it.
That can't really be a thing. It's like saying, I'm not gonna follow New York State collaborative protocols. I'm just gonna treat the patient the way I want. Can you do that?
You have providers that are not using eBridge.
So right now, there's no discipline involved. Down the road, as Don said, we're waiting from the Division of Legal Affairs to see what teeth the REMSCO has for that situation. This is something new. So like Dr. Kugler has said numerous times, we're still crawling. We're not even walking yet. We're still crawling with this. So as we get more proficient at it and we get more and more data, then things are going to change. But for right now, there's no discipline. But it's a REMSCO policy that when we make a note, we transport a patient.
It's followed by the participant.
I'm sorry?
A policy is only effective if it's being utilized by the participant.
Well, that's a true
So
statement.
most people in EMS are intrinsically motivated to do everything they're asked to do.
That's true.
Unfortunately, others are not.
That's also true. Thank
And
you.
then our only sidebar is to either punish them or enhance the ability for them to utilize it by some sort of reward.
Well, the goal is for everybody to be using it, and we're working towards that goal. It's a kind of as we get all here, it's an uphill battle. So it will get better, hopefully, in the future. But like Dr. Kugler says, the more information we get, the better we'll be able to use the information, and people will see that it's working, or it's not working. He said, I think we need to listen to what Dr. Kugler said and wait for the information, the research, the information to come in, so we can make a better judgment. Yes, sir. I'll get you a second.
We've been using it over a year. We have nothing coming back in yet. That's the concern that I originally brought up. That's what this whole conversation is. That the people who are running this, which is like old, we've gotten no feedback from people who are using it yet. Well, other than the hospitals, which is
Let me stand corrected. So the feedback has been universally positive. So
where is it though? I haven't heard any reports of, hey, this is what we got back. Providers giving it. I mean.
Well, we report it at every meeting I go to, and I probably go to way too many of them. So I don't disagree, but I don't know that that's entirely accurate. So the good news is for August, although we don't have August's not use number, people who aren't utilizing it, let's assume it's about 1,000 because that's been the trend since January. In the same EMS coordinators report is the August utilization report for eBridge. So there were over 3,300 utilizations of it. So we have the high majority of providers that are utilizing it, hence the intrinsic, right? Thank you. Those are the people that we should be celebrating, is the people that are doing the right thing because they want to help people. So thank you for those people. The question mark, I agree, unfortunately falls to, as we know, what do we do to those that don't or won't? And unfortunately, we know how that goes, and we've been unwilling or unable to do that to date. I will just leave everyone with this food for thought. If you haven't been paying attention to the New York State enforcement actions on both providers and agencies over the course of the last few months, I would draw your attention there to see if you are not doing the right thing and following the regional policies, now would be the time to fix that. And that's not a threat, but I think it's a glimpse into what you're asking is, what's the ramifications for someone that won't? And it's an ugly world, but unfortunately it needs to exist. So I'll just leave you on this one. To any agency, and again, this has been the messaging since the beginning, but it's worth reiterating. Any agency having connectivity issues, please let us know. There's alternatives to cellular service that we will offer you. All right. So please, if you know of an agency or a particular area that doesn't have universal connectivity, we saw this when we first went to EPCRs, people utilizing, a commercial, without naming a cable provider, a commercially available Wi-Fi network that is spotty at best. If you don't have your own Wi-Fi connectivity, then obviously your PCR tablet can't connect to Wi-Fi universally. We got over that hump. The same way now with cellular, or quite honestly, possibly Wi-Fi, satellites. There's options out there, but we can't help you if you don't ask for it. So please reach out.
JJ?
I think what we need to do is look at someone on a positive. Let's work on trying to get this. Why this
Yep, it's all up on the website.
It's on that.
Do you think maybe something from this body, after the entire membership, reminding them of the benefits of these and the difference that they can make potentially in patient care for the area? And maybe work on, celebrating the people that are utilizing it, and then trying to encourage the people that haven't to get them on board. Let them know what the benefits are. Let them know what they can do with it. I think there needs to be more communication from REMSCO promoting this and encouraging people to do this rather than, hey, after you beat somebody down, because they're not using it.
Yeah.
I think the other time, I think that's an immediate way you can do this today.
Well, to your point, that's why when Mark asked about, what's happening today.
Right.
The goal right now,
It's not
a discipline thing. We're not going to beat you up. We're asking for you to comply with a regional policy. So yes, I agree with you.
The only question I had, and as Don just said, there's 3,000 calls a month that are going through eBridge, and there's about 1,000 that is not. Is that I stubbed my toe? Sari Jones is our regular customer, and she's the same ride all the time. this could be another, issue here. This isn't the major calls. Could be the total BS, and also at the same time, with the agencies that I work with, sometimes you're less than a minute or 2 minutes away from the hospital. So by the time you even, do any of that stuff, you could be in the door already. So that's just, and I'm just saying the lower type cases. I'm not talking about the big spectacular cases. That they definitely need a notification. You got to stop what you're doing and make sure that that's out. But if it's the stub toe, and the hiccup down the road, my stomach, I just got gas or whatever it is,
So the only reason why I'm gonna disagree with you on that is because of something I said to somebody. That's the time when you should be using it, because now you're gonna learn the system. Now you're gonna learn where, okay, Glen Cove Hospital's in the middle. I already know that because I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying as a training guy, it's making you use it more,
Okay,
so you learn it better.
yeah. On the new
So
people, I
now-
can see that.
So now,
some of the
when
seasoned,
the
yeah.
shit's hitting the fan with the stroke,
Mhm.
okay, I'm rocking it because I know it. I've used it so much. It's now second nature. So so
No,
I think
hold on,
anybody else?
hold on.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Yes, sir.
I keep saying lastly. So now sales pitched initially to the hospitals and then in follow-up conversations with them, it is actually those low acuity calls that helps a hospital system and the healthcare system in general more than the high acuity ones, simply because I can't be the only one in the room that knows that, there was a time where it was ambulance patients went to the waiting room or to urgent care if it wasn't an ER bed situation. And for multiple reasons, that world changed. And, if we ever hope to get back to a similar, truly, what do they need when they get here type of situation, I agree. We don't probably have enough critical care beds open in the ER for multiple reasons. They may not be as reactive as we would like, probably for multiple reasons. None of the least is they're full of non-acute patients. If we're ever going as a system, a healthcare system, going to be able to get back to that and address that, it's only with what we have in this region that, quite honestly, we've been celebrated on the state level as a pinnacle of pre-hospital care and communications in this, simply because our communications with our hospitals and our coordination with our hospitals in furthering these conversations for the overall good of the system and patient care doesn't occur everywhere. Not every region requires every ambulance to call every time. And, that's a whole nother conversation. Obviously, there's pros and cons with everything that we do, but part of the rationale there was so that an ER can manage all of the patients, not just the sick ones or the non-sick ones, right?
John, somebody just texted me, they're trying to ask a question online.
It's a live stream. We don't do online, right?
Yes, sir.
So I think he brings up a great point, but what are the hospitals doing with our notification before we get there? They're not assigning us beds, not speeding us up really at all. I think that's part of the problem.
They know one. Well, hold on. I'll answer you. The pushback there is, well, until you get everyone to use it, why? What do you want us to do with it? We have 1/4 of our house. Well, it's a chicken and the egg if we want to get into that conversation. What I'm suggesting is let's square away our house before we worry about theirs. We have theoretically 1/4 of the people not using it. So you want a hospital system, or you want me to be, or one of us to be your salesman to go to a hospital system and try and make this sales pitch that, well, we know 1/4 of us aren't doing what we're supposed to, but you have to do this.
75% of the people are doing the thing. I think it's worth going to.
So let's look at the data that Dr. Silver is, I'm sorry to interject, collecting, and we'll come back with a report and see how it's working. I mean, we keep going around in a circle. Let's stop the circle.
Yeah.
Get the data, analyze it, report it out, and then come up with a complete.
To his, once again, this was part of staffing, as Don just said. If I'm cutting 2 nurses to go out on break and stuff, and I don't know 8 patients are coming in because nobody bothered to notify eBridge for those low acuity cases and stuff, now you're shortchanged. So that was part of the other thing with the hospital, staff, for them to be able to staff as they know where the patients are coming in.
I think it goes back to the root cause also. When you hear 5 ambulances going to one hospital, as a provider, you make the determination of if that other hospital is just as far away, go to the one that hasn't just gotten slammed.
That's up to medical control to manage. Providers should not be in a position to make those decisions. It's patient steering.
If the patient says, I want to go where I'm going to get seen faster, or I want to go where that someone that didn't get just slammed, I don't think it's steering at all.
Okay. Good discussion.
Mhm.
Hopefully in November, we have more good discussion and we'll have some more information to clear this up. Yes, sir.
Actually, I just got this question, Dixon. Tom McDonough just asked me, he's Secretary of the Fire Commission. He wants to know if MedCom is able to track non-users.
We record every radio notification.
You track non-users of eBridge?
Well, if they made a radio notification, we probably found that they did. So that would lead me to believe that those didn't use eBridge.
Yeah, they do report it out monthly. They share that data.
Okay.
Although, again, just for true transparency, it's not in the manner and the form that was prescribed. So it's not useful. It's a handwritten log, and I simply count them up to give you that number because there's no way to sort that by root cause, which was what the charge was, and it's what's reflected in the policy manual. So, again, not to be contentious, but we're all talking around the issue here. I think we have one of the issues at hand. We're just waiting on an answer.
We're not the ambulance police. We're not going to tell people. You guys pass a rule and they don't follow it. Our job is, why are you not doing this? We have our hands full. We are very busy there. We take the information.
Move the meeting.
We want a spreadsheet created. I'll give you the info. You can enter.
All right. REMAC, Dr. Kugler.
All right, that was a nice discussion on eBridge, so I don't have to report on that, thank you. With regards to REMAC, flu season's around the corner. Just make sure you take care of your partners, your family, and yourselves. If you can get a flu shot, get a flu shot. If you don't want one or shouldn't get one, then don't get one, but just be mindful that it's actually COVID and flu are already here. So just use proper precautions, respiratory etiquette. Just a reminder, once again, that PCR data needs to be transmitted to the hospitals within a certain time frame. I think it's 4 hours after the completion of the call. That's a state regulation. It's not the regions, and your agency and providers to be held accountable to that. New York State CMAC created a subcommittee tag on the SCT paramedic, which is specialty care transport paramedic. They're looking to further or re-examine the in-facility transport training qualifications of the paramedics that are providing that care. Dr. Ryan from Protocols is working on looking at data for pre-hospital blood. Agency medical directors are all must now be medical control credentialed. So that's here, all our agency medical directors have to take our medical control exam or the paramedic exam. So in our region, we are compliant with that. The ED committee, Chairman Cordopasso said she has no updated business. The EMD PSAP tag, Dr. Harris said he's meeting with leaders in other regions and he'll have a report out in October. We're still waiting for, with regards to old business, we're waiting for New York State Division of Legal Affairs to get back to us from a meeting that we had in December with regards to certain issues that are ongoing. And there's been no report out. Apparently, the attorneys that work for the Division of Legal Affairs have all moved to different jobs. So so everything sort of seems to be on hold. The medical control tag that was created to help look at the redesign to help redesign medical control. There's been no current progress, but Ryan Greenberg has called me up and said that in order to affect a policy or medical control. Can't be a policy, but it has to be a protocol. So the region has to create, once we finally get it all together, a regional medical control protocol, which then will be approved by the REMAC and the REMSCO. Then it has to go up to the CMAC and then the SEMSCO, then the Commissioner of Health. And the reason why it has to become a protocol, not a policy, is because right now the state says the regions can't enforce anything. But if it's a protocol, it means the state can enforce it. So if it gets reported, unfortunately, it's gonna end up going to the state, and then the state will have to enforce it, and it comes down on the provider. So, it's not gonna, the state is asking for something that's gonna, hurt the providers, not help them. So that's the reason why we wanted the Division of Legal Affairs to opine on the previous issues, so we could further get clarity as to how to move going forward. With regards to new business from REMAC, there was a discussion about membership. The bylaws specifically stated if you miss 2 meetings, you're considered to have been dismissed. 2 meetings without an excuse. So there was one member, Dr. Dishner, who had a 1-year pass, but he had missed another subsequent half a year without any notifications or excuses submitted. So there was a motion made to remove Dr. Dishner from the voting rolls of the REMAC. So this way we could put somebody into the seat, so that would help us complete our business. That motion passed. Dr. Dishner was moved to non-voting rolls. In addition, there were 3 seats vacant, including the one by Dr. Dishner, and Dr. Jason Winslow from Suffolk County EMS was added. Dr. Evan Feinberg and Dr. Sherrill were all added to the voting membership. Dr. Zito and Dr. Shetty were added to the non-voting membership. I don't know if that needs to come to this committee for approval or not.
Were the bylaws gone around for that vote for the doctors? Because REMAC is a committee of REMSCO, and they can't unilaterally go around bylaws, even by a vote of the majority, to make an appointment.
The REMAC,
That's what the bylaws prescribe.
yeah, we follow the bylaws with regards to membership. I quoted the bylaws in the meeting, and then the discussion was had and the vote was made. I don't remember the specific bylaws. I don't have that on this page, but we did follow the bylaws as prescribed by the judge. So thanks for bringing that up and allowing me to clarify. So the other issue was there were some Nassau County, Nassau Regional Policy manual edits with regards to approvals. Blood and blood products is still pending, but the TXA was moved from an unapproved to approved if equipped and trained in our policy manual. Olanzapine was moved if equipped and trained as well, from unapproved to approved. The e-bridge edits were made based on the recommendations of the QAQI committee and the stroke committee. And that the regional policy for stroke score, the regional pre-hospital stroke score, which is what the state protocol says is whatever the regionally approved stroke score is, was changed from the slams to Cincinnati, which is what it was before we moved to the slams. So as we moved back to the Cincinnati to facilitate the e-bridge notification tool. And then lastly, the Nassau County REMAC, I'm going to send a notification out to the REMAC members. I'm going to ask that we move the REMAC from its regularly scheduled first Wednesday on October 1st to October 8th because of the Yom Kippur holiday. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Kuba?
Yeah, weren't there positions waiting that were bypassed on the list? And
no,
also,
we went in order.
Were we under 15 positions?
The only out of order. So there was a vote to accept Dr. Winslow out of order, out of sequence, but the other doctors were brought up in sequence.
Right, but as a committee, you can't vote to change a bylaw, to bypass the bylaw.
There's no bylaw that specifically says the sequence to which we're taking positions. It also talks about membership in general, and the committee is allowed to pick its members. So that's what we did.
When it falls below 15.
No, that's for the original.
By attrition. I'm looking at it. That's why I'm asking. I wouldn't be asking if I wasn't looking at it.
That's for the original formulation. If you're reading the rest of it,
That was based on the state law.
that's from when REMAC was founded.
And what about
Correct?
residency requirements for REMAC
There
members?
is
No?
residency.
Okay,
So the
thanks.
state only has residency requirements for the REMSCO.
Right, but REMAC is a
No,
extension
but-
No.
but
committee of
this-
REMSCO.
The state has no residency requirements for a REMSCO. You could be, there are people
For REMAC.
throughout the state that live in certain regions that participate in other REMSCOs.
For REMAX.
Yeah,
So I
like,
know
remember.
REMAX, South Canada.
So, but
I have
you-
local agencies in South
the,
County and I'm in
the,
South
the state
Canada.
does specifically codify that if you are a voting member on a REMSCO, you must live within that region, but not the REMAC. Because the REMAC has to be a body of specialist physicians, and some regions don't have that, enough physicians to satisfy the membership requirements, so they pull from other regions to satisfy those membership requirements. So that's, they did not put a membership requirement on the REMAC.
Anybody else for Dr. Kuba? Okay, communications, Karen Brome.
I don't have anything report, but I have the EMS system report, if you'd like to do that now.
Oceanside.
Yes, please.
EMS systems, received a request from Oceanside Fire Department to move from the 4th spot in the matrix to the 2nd spot, and after a conversation, we all approved that move, and we bring it to the board.
Okay, so under new business, we need a vote on that. All right. Any questions to Karen Brome? Disaster planning, Kevin O'Hara.
Our last meeting, we have developed 3 of the 4 training modules. We agreed that we could break it up into 4 little, small training modules to get the whole MCI plan trained out amongst the county providers. We were going to put them on a video and it would be downloaded online. We opted to reach out to New York State, the Nassau Regional Training Center, because they provide services. They do have a learning management system. And we started inquiring of them. That's Mr. Scott Holliday, okay, through Northwell, who's currently the Nassau Regional Training Center. And right now, we have a request into the state. My understanding in the beginning, they thought there would be a problem with the state putting it on for like a county type of training. But my understanding is we might be able to get that resolved. If not, somebody from amongst us here, Dr. Silva mentioned that he thought he'd have another type of platform that we could use for that. So hopefully next meeting, I'll have a lot more about these training modules and be available for rollout. With that, I also brought up, and I think it's very important that this body address the following. We need to make sure that our training academies are versed and training our new technicians and our recertified technicians on the policy on the EMS operations. So I'd like to see that we go out, reach out to, and that could be Nassau County PD, the Fire Police Academy, Nassau County EMS Academy, as well as I think there's one, and Northwell also trains in this area, to let them know that they should be including this in their basic training for providers. That's the only way to get it out. As well as I believe Frank also mentioned about getting it out to the fire commission, so that the leaders of the fire service, et cetera, know that. And I would count on the Fire Police Academy to let the leadership within the police department and our county medics, so know about this. As again, they mentioned as the lead county agency.
The other thing is there are several other EMT training locations right now. I think Adelphi and all of these. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I know there's 2 or 3 other ones out there that I think we have to make sure that we, have them on board as well.
So I'd like to see if we can get some type of a notification out to the agencies or these institutions to make sure that they're accompanying it. And I think also, we did mention about incorporating it in the annual survey sent out to our EMS agencies saying, where we asked, do they do this, do they do that? Are they aware of, are they following the Nassau County MCI policy? And also, do they have MedTac 4 channel capability, which is again, the communications platform that we'd be using for MCI.
Any questions to Kevin O'Hara? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I have a question on behalf of the hospitals, emergency department, about the MCI plan. I took a quick look, it was someone that posted a QR code to the MCI plan, and I thought there was a flip. I thought we were going with the ABCD levels to be consistent with what FDNY and Living New York has. I don't know if you can answer.
You're talking about the hospital, in other words, the
Yeah,
categories of the hospital. We're in the process of something, working on that.
Okay,
We are,
so that's
definitely.
not.
And the reason why we thought we could ultimately get to that level is because most of the county hospitals are also providers in New York City. So yes, it's under advisement and it looks like we're going that.
And then just the second question, which I don't know if this is something Ebridge could be used for, is how, currently when there's an MCI, all the hospitals get a full medical control, how many pay you take. Is there going to be something like an automated call? I know we're only 11 hospitals, so that is many as in the city, but is that going to still be a manual call to notify hospitals in an MCI, or is there a thought to use Ebridge for that? I know you said medical control can do that, but how would that work? We don't know yet. You can say we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Cannot send out
They can't,
notification.
only
At
on
least not
behalf
the
of
way it's
the
configured right now.
Yes,
We're a
they can.
receiving terminal.
Not
So
true.
we don't see the same interface that you see on your tablet.
Okay.
So this goes to when you say, you make a radio notification, I can't turn around and make a notification the way it's set up. So that's why that's not being done. So we don't really have the ability to do that as a receiving.
So,
But that's not what she's asking.
Yeah,
She's
so-
asking,
But no, she's saying if we would send out,
I don't know how they would, but
Ebridge
how would the hospitals
from
be
that-
notified?
Well,
going
for right now,
forward?
I think it's, we're doing it,
Maybe some type of fix a lock, so we don't have to
Right.
say
If
how
we go
many-
It's there,
through
it's
what
there,
I believe
it's
we're
there.
talking about is, how would we know what the capabilities are, okay? of the
They refuse to
hospital
do it.
MCI?
It's there.
So right now, they get told by medical
right,
control.
that's what we're still doing.
Physically ask them red, yellow, green patient, et
They
cetera.
refuse to fill
If
out the
we
form.
opt and we talk
It's
about
there.
this category A, B, C,
I know.
you get.
It's
Exactly,
already,
and
you
we
don't
know
mind.
you know,
based on
just
the
be
level of
prepared. And it looks like we are going, but, we-
Okay.
we
So,
gotta-
let me jump in.
I understand we're not there yet, and just when you do talk
We're gonna
about
get there.
training, just make sure to include the hospital portion of the training, so we,
Definitely.
I know that's a little bit further down the line, but just so I can report back to the hospital.
Training is gonna be online, so surely we'll make sure hospitals, as well as all our providers or receivers are well aware of it. And that's also our private ambulance agencies that operate in this county.
Don, you want to?
So, yeah, like we have the stroke coordinators corralled for the first time ever. Have the trauma coordinators and the emergency managers also now from each of the 13 hospitals. So, ironically enough, in the first iteration of eBridge, which was piloted prior to COVID, there's all of that MCI functionality there. It's still latent in the system. It's just not turned on. That is on the back burner. Step 3, 4, 5, 6 is that future implementation of all of that interagency and region-wide communication. Maybe someday. It would be huge. The first hurdle, which was still almost a year into and not there yet, is to get everyone to use it. So we'll get there. It's just slower than anyone would want.
Anybody else? Okay, education and training, Stephen Landa.
CC Medic Bridge class, 2 left as for New York State. It's going to be 10/16/25 is the start date for our next cohort. It'll end 2/4/27. And then what New York State is telling us is going to be the last time they approve the course for us is going to be 3/5/26. That'll end 6/3/27, which puts the sunset still at 7/1/17. What's up? Yeah, you have 3 weeks, but yeah, so it's end of course dates June 3rd, which is the first Thursday of the month. I figure 5 to 7 days after that, the state's going to get your PSI link, so you've got 3 weeks to take the test.
When was the first class you talked about?
It starts in October. It's October 16th.
Thank you.
Any questions to education and training? Frank DeBovis, legal and governmental affairs.
Yes, we're still looking at the different ideas for the bylaws. as far as trying to mesh them with the ones I got from Don from the state. So we'll continue going over that. If anybody is interested on being on that committee with me, just give me a call and we'll try to get something set up in the very near future. There's also some other things that we're just waiting on for the state. So that'll just be an addendum if we get this stuff squared away now.
Okay, any questions for legal and governmental affairs? Public education, I don't think Chester's here, but systems has already been taken care of. Membership, Robin Trott. So she is not here. I have her report. So there are 4 council members that have met the membership threshold, meaning they've met they've missed 4 meetings, at least 4 meetings. I will be contacting them and their constituencies to make sure that they wish to continue. If not, we will move forward and receive those constituencies. Hospital Emergency Department, State of Corte Paso, asked to be excused, and there was no report. Airway Committee, Dr. Newberg.
Everyone, we did not have an every committee meeting for the summer because we did not have any cases to review, but there was an RSI class in Suffolk County. We've been doing mutual aid or reciprocity with them, and they trained a number of our providers. And there's actually classes coming up in October and December. So if any agency is interested in having providers take that difficult airway class that we're working on with Suffolk, please just reach out to us, and I will help you get your providers into that. And as I mentioned, to be positive, the data that we've received from the airway forms is being processed currently, and we're getting some really good information from that for educational purposes and for feedback from the county. And as I mentioned, we don't have the official, but unofficially, our first pass placement of tubes is in the 90s, the mid 90s, and that's very reassuring. And remember that originally when we were talking about RSI, I mentioned that we needed that data because we didn't, as a group, want to do RSI if we weren't also maintaining our but our routine airways properly. And it looks like we're in a good process on that and in good shape, and we're going to get more feedback for folks, more educational parts from that. So that's been very helpful. And we're also working with Suffolk County on that as well. It's a partnership with Suffolk County EMS, and we're using their data and we're conglomerating it and comparing and contrasting because we each do it slightly differently. So that way it'll help both counties do their airway stuff better. So that's and reporting on it a good thing. So that's a good thing. And we appreciate everyone, and we continue to move forward. If any other agencies are interested in doing RSI, please let us know. And like I said, if anyone wants the training, you don't have to be an RSI agency for your member to take that difficult airway training. And it's a really, really good class. So if anyone wants that class, please just let me know and we'll help get someone into it.
Questions for Dr. Newberg? Okay. The REMSCO REMAC modernization tag, Dr. Newberg.
What happened? Oh, there's nothing.
Okay.
The usual.
First Responder Memorial, that's Chairman Mackey.
Thank you. At this point, once again, the Fire Commission has decided to go their own direction and stuff. It took them a few months, once again, to come to a decision and stuff, somewhere on board somewhere. So what we're looking to do is go forward as EMS with a memorial. As I said, we have by county that there is a spot for us in Eisenhower Park. The last month or so, I've been quite busy. And I will reach out to Pat Stone to get a drawing and to work on with the committee a design, which then we can take out to identify funding options and stuff with that. So I will be working on that in the next month or so to get that hopefully up and running.
Okay, any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
With the Fire Commission and I know they went in a different direction. It's a foundation.
Yes.
And I strongly suggest we start looking into setting up a Nassau EMS foundation, memorial foundation, so that if we do talk to corporate sponsors, that we're able to take monies in. Because talking with the CPA, we cannot take money in as donations and things like that and spend it on things that do not fall under the REMSCO rules and regulations.
I agree
So
with you.
I think
I
that's
think that's
something that we have
once
to
the
look at
design,
now.
once the design is there,
Yeah,
then,
but that
then we
might
can
take a
look at.
couple of, that'll take a couple of months. The foundation is the first thing, you gotta get a corporate name foundation. After that's done, then it gets the 501c3. After the 501c3, then you have to go to the IRS. So it's not gonna happen
Yeah,
like
let's
that,
get the
but it's
Bennett
just,
stuff.
okay?
I haven't talked to him about that yet, but
Okay.
we'll discuss that with him.
Okay, old business. New York State Division of Legal Affairs, the REMSCO is still waiting for answers for multiple questions from the New York State Division of Legal Affairs. They have not come back to us. The program agency contracts, as
okay.
our EMS coordinator brought up, we're still waiting for that. The seconded motion from the systems committee, we need a motion, we need a vote on that, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so all in favor of changing?
Nope, seconded
Oceanside's-
motion.
That's a new business.
Seconded motion. Yeah.
It's a new business. I apologize. I'm looking in the wrong place.
Need the updated communication letter.
Okay, yeah, so under old business, I need a motion to approve me contacting Bruce Cohen or the old program agency, and telling him we'll accept the money without any conditions.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any,
You said without conditions, right?
without conditions? Yes, without conditions. Any against? Okay, so moved. New business, oh, I looked in the wrong place, thank you. I'm looking in the wrong
Under
one,
old business, there was another table of motion from last meeting,
which was,
putting the meetings 3 different times. 8, 2, and 6.
so, I thought we,
There's a
Table.
table.
okay,
You
I wasn't,
weren't
you know what, I
here.
apologize.
Yeah, that's what we were
I
waiting
wasn't
on.
here.
We were waiting for your presence.
Okay,
Oh, thank God.
I'm sorry,
You're present.
I'm present. All right, so we had a vote, on that, and basically it was almost equally a third changing it, having it during the day, a third having it at night, and a third didn't really matter to them. So I thought I could be, please correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we had agreed that we were gonna.
There's still
keep
a
it.
lot of people that do need alternative times, and that's why the motion was made. So the motion stands and it's tabled, so it was up for discussion. If there's any further discussion, if not, there's a
Well,
motion.
how many people?
Point of order,
Yeah.
it's on the table, it has to be removed from the table.
Correct.
You gotta make a motion to remove it from the table to see if people want to do that first.
I'm gonna make a motion to remove it from the table.
Second.
Okay, so I think,
You have to vote on that.
well, okay, let's vote on that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's do a hand vote. Did your hand up, sir?
No.
Just the elbow.
Just the elbow. 9, 10, 11, 12,
How many,
13. There's 13.
How many?
Against? Abstentions? Okay,
How many who?
An extension will be.
Barry's an abstention.
The list to see.
All right, so,
How
how
many
should we do this? Should we send out another survey?
No, I think we should
For,
consider changing the meetings. I mean, you see what the turnout is here right now. You see what it is historically. If, you know, you don't try something different. People, you know, a percentage of people have, you know, the desire for alternative times. So a trial of different times, mixing morning, afternoon, and night, or evening,
Okay.
I think would accommodate
Okay, so how about I do this?
across the emergency services that we are, you know, various.
Okay, so how about we do this, with everybody's approval? The next meeting is in November. I come back with a schedule, because when this would take place, I'm not gonna be chairman, it's gonna be,
whomever.
Vice Chairman Devaney, right. So we come up with a schedule for the next year with different times and present it to the full. Can we do that?
I think that's fair, but I think we definitely need to consider alternative times. It's 2:00 in the afternoon for many people. is prohibitive.
Okay. So, yes, sir.
Maybe I missed the conversation at the last meeting, or the minutes when they read them off at the beginning of this meeting, because I don't believe they're posted online anyway, apparently.
They're on the
What
website.
happened?
Yeah,
Last month.
they're on the website.
Then I can't find them, somebody can tell me where they're at.
Okay.
The website or the YouTube?
No.
So if you click on Nassau EMS,
So we're not
Nassau
on
REMS,
YouTube anymore?
what's that?
They're not on YouTube anymore?
So the website itself is nassauems.org. That's our statutory requirement. So then you go to the REMSCO tab, Nassau REMSCO meetings and minutes. And you have Nassau REMSCO meeting 6/11/25 minutes PDF. Is that what you wanted?
So
Anyway,
it
the rest
might
of the
be
world
that you
can.
do it on the phone. Sometimes I
So we went back to written minutes.
sorry.
We're back to written minutes now? We didn't use the video last month?
The laptop crashed, and the leadership and executive committee is aware.
That's what.
So we have minutes posted.
That's what. Yeah, that's
Was
under
that
new business. I'm
reiterated
asking.
in the coordinator's report anyway, since that meeting? 'Cause, I mean, as a member of this committee, I had no idea that we changed how we were posting.
We didn't change
We didn't
anything.
change it.
Do we have to notify anyone?
We
Great question.
Not
We
to
had-
my knowledge.
well, we had an issue, so we're gonna fix the issue, so there shouldn't be a problem.
So you have the minutes?
Do now?
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Barry. Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for purchase of new laptop for REMSCO, not to exceed $8,000.
How much?
8,000?
8,000? No,
What
we
did
don't
you
use
say?
$8,000.
Three.
No.
$3,000.
Your handwriting getting bad.
Holy monkey.
That's some
So-
computer.
Well, it's 3,000 for the laptop and another 5 for my earpiece that I have to get.
All right. All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, so moved. All right, so
It's embarrassing that it wasn't everybody. It's embarrassing that how poorly it was submitted. And I don't think that should be brought to the. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I apologize.
The winner's
My head
only
is-
one because
my
they
head
were the
is
only
still
ones that put it.
Not
No,
100%.
absolutely.
I brought it for
Probably not the
$14,000,
optics
right?
you want.
Yes.
I did, okay, thank you, I apologize.
The
My head-
matrix changed.
Yeah, my head is not, okay,
We're new business.
we're in new business, yeah. All right, Oceanside, next change,
Make a motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Second motion. Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, so moved. We also have to bring up policy revisions that was, we have to have a vote on that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so abstentions? So moved. All right, any questions, any public comments, any questions about anything? No, okay, the next meeting is gonna be November 5th at 2:00. I will have ready for that meeting, an alternative schedule, for the next year, proposal, yes, sir.
So I just reviewed those minutes. There was supposed to be a survey sent out for the motion, I guess, that Mike made at the June meeting. Right underneath that, it says that a survey was gonna be sent out.
That was tabled, I believe.
Please,
Right.
I was not at that meeting, I apologize, 1 second. I'm not disputing what you're saying, it's just I'm not,
You wrote them, what is it saying?
Second survey will be sent out to the members on April. Their opinion on 3 at 2 p.m. and 3 at 7 p.m. Further
When was it
discussion
tabled?
That's after the tabling of the motion, so. Is that survey gonna be sent out prior to November?
Yeah, it's tabled.
discussion.
So, all right, you want a new survey. What would you like the survey to say?
That's fine.
No,
So based on,
what was
no,
said.
I'm not disputing. I'm not disputing. All right,
What's
so,
the question of the survey?
times for the REMSCO meeting.
We want an open-ended fill-in-the-blank times?
No, it says, it says that,
So we want to put out the same survey?
Yeah, but with the times
The
listed.
survey didn't go out.
Yeah,
The
first-
previous
no, the pre-
survey.
Yeah, but
Yes,
it
we
did-
did have a survey. Boys and girls, please, stop. There was a survey sent out. We had respondents. It was a third and a third and a third. There was a much round circular discussion about it. It was tabled because of that. We're
says
back
in the
here.
minutes the
So
second survey was gonna be sent out. I understand the first one went out, and we lost we just said it's gonna be a third, and a third, but it says the second survey was gonna be sent out, that was never sent out, correct?
So the question at hand, what would you like the survey to say?
What
Three
time frame?
2 PM meetings and 3 7 PM is exactly how it reads in the minutes.
Say again?
Three,
The
two,
second survey will be sent to the
three and
members on
3,
April.
2,
Their
3,
their
7.
opinion on 3 2 PM meetings and 3 7 PM meeting times.
3 2 p.m. meetings
Splitting them in half, 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening.
and 3
Is where we land.
7 p.m.?
That's a yes, do you want this, yes, no, or is there an alternative option?
Yes. and-
Correct. What are the responses?
As opposed to 2 PM across the board.
So you want a singular selection for 2 p.m. or a singular selection for 7 p.m. or is somebody allowed to do
Three
both?
and three.
No.
Status quo, or splitting 3 at 2 PM, 3 at 7 PM.
So as it is or the new way?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Can I ask a silly question? Didn't you say he was about to do that? You just said you're gonna put out a thing for next
Yeah.
year that has.
I'll do it however they
Yeah,
want me
yeah,
to
yeah.
do it.
Isn't that what you said?
I
And they
did,
agreed
but
to it?
that's okay.
Okay.
It's fine.
I mean, that made sense. You were agreeing
It's
with it.
okay. It's, well, what it is what it is. We'll do both. And then we'll sit down and we'll discuss it.
Just want to
Any
be
other
clear so I'm not accused of anything
I
after the
know.
fact.
Any other
It's
questions?
okay. 2 p.m. meetings
Sure.
and 3 7 p.m. meetings.
And Linda,
Good and
good
welfare.
welfare.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Most of you may have heard, the day after, the last meeting, we got some devastating news in my family. My granddaughter, Madeline, has been diagnosed with extremely rare, childhood, neurological degenerative disease called PCAN. My daughter, former firefighter, as well as a AEMT here in Nassau County, currently a Stony Brook Emergency Department nurse, and my son-in-law, Gerard, from the Rockford Center, got the news in June. We have partnered up with a foundation called the Loving Lowick Foundation to raise awareness and funding of $5 million for treatment and to look at a possible cure for this disease. Currently, there is no cure. There is no current treatment and stuff. The FDA is looking at some treatment options and stuff. They've met with experts from around the country. You may have seen it's called Madeline's Mission. She was diagnosed at 6 months with this extremely rare disease. Stony Brook is running a fundraiser at the Mastic Volunteer Ambulance Corps in October. There'll be some stuff coming out on that. It's October 5th from 1 to 5. Stony Brook Hospital will be running that. There are flyers over here. If you would, please take it back to your agency. And if you could just spread the awareness through social media. They've had a number of different media outlets. They've been bombarded with a lot of different questions and stuff. It's a very tough situation and stuff for our entire family right now. As I said, the last 2 months have just been a blur as we try to navigate this through multiple hospitals throughout the country. So please keep her in your prayers. We appreciate the support. People have reached out to my daughter Caitlin, my son-in-law Gerard, and my entire family and stuff. And like I said, I'm really devastated and stuff. We hope that once again, we will find a treatment. The FDA is looking at stuff. And if that helps to reduce the progression and so we can get a cure for this, it's a 1 in a million type situation and stuff. So As I said, I brought it up at REMAC, but the more awareness there is for these rare neurodegenerative diseases and stuff out there, the faster we might be able to find some cures for these children with that. So she just turned 9 months the other day, and we're hopeful that once again it will be helpful. Thank you.
Anyone else? Good and welfare?
Yes, on behalf of the whole council, we want to express our condolences to you on the passing of your wife.
Thank
and as well as on the passing of your mom. We just want that noted.
Bad month.
Yes.
Anybody else? Get a motion for adjournment.
Remove.
Okay. Adjourn.